What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I'm wrestling with myself. First off, I want to apologize for the background noise. I know the oscillating fan behind me is making some noise, but it is 86 degrees in this room that I'm currently in. I am sweating, I am hot, I am sticky, but I am braving the heat this morning to bring you guys Impact Wrestling Slammiversary 2020 review. I got a chance to watch the show this morning. I couldn't watch it last night, I had plans, but I watched the show this morning, and it was probably, maybe even the most hyped pay-per-view of the entire wrestling year, which is rare for Impact. It's the first time that myself and a lot of others have been hyped for Impact since really about 2010, 2011, back when the Hogan-Bischoff era was in full swing. I hadn't really watched Impact, a full show of Impact, more than a few at least, for the last decade. And they've been through so many iterations of TNA, GFW, Impact, all that stuff, all the networks they've been through. But they finally got a good regime in Don Callis and Scott D'Amore. They've got a solid Access TV deal, and they've got a lot of hype surrounding all the guys they could bring in, because the WWE 90-day no-compete clauses for all the previously released talent was up on the actual date of this show, July 18th. So, let me give you guys the review. I gave you guys the preview video, and you guys really seemed to like it and watch it, so I wanted to bring you guys my review quickly and my thoughts on this pay-per-view as a whole. Overall, I'd say pretty solid. I enjoyed it. There were some surprises, pretty good matches, good packages, pretty good overall impressions. Don Callis was back on commentary for this show. I really enjoyed that. I like Don Callis. He has a good voice. He has good humor. His nostalgia reminds me of ECW in 2000, which is a personal favorite of mine. I'm not a big fan of Josh Matthews, but I didn't think he was very bad here. Matthews and Madison Rayne kind of both grate on me. Neither one is like terrible at commentary, but they just don't gel to me. Madison was wrestling tonight, so she wasn't on commentary. Josh Matthews, again, I wish they would have gotten a Joey Styles or somebody else that was rumored to come in and kind of change the commentary up, since they're making big company changes. But again, he wasn't terribly offensive for the most part on this show, and it was good to have Callis back. Design-wise, the stage looked pretty cool. It was kind of their usual arena, but they did have a lot of lighting. It was like extremely well lit. Like they had a bunch of like strobes and spotlights, and it just seemed much brighter than usual. So they kind of did a good job of bringing the lighting and presentation up on the air. There wasn't any fans or anybody sitting at ringside. Obviously, pandemic-wise, you can't have any fans, but I would have thought they would have brought the locker room or some family members of the wrestlers out, like AEW and WWE have been doing over the last couple of weeks, and even Impact here and there. I think having a crowd to respond to some of these big surprises and big moments would have been nice. So it would have been cool to have, again, the family and friends of the wrestlers or the locker room guys come out and be part of the audience, because having no noise at all kind of took away from some of the debuts a little bit, made it feel a little less impactful, no pun intended. Production-wise, there was a lot of errors tonight. They threw the packages that were on a major delay. Some of the sound and stuff just wasn't great. A couple times they had the wrong graphic up on screen. Josh Matthews had to stall and explain something different. They just had a lot of cueing errors backstage, so I don't know if that was a producer, if that was the director, just calling things wrong, but a couple of wrong packages. Some of the microphones for the promos weren't turned on all the way, very low, until late in the promos, so some of the audio wasn't great on this. So Impact always seems to have some production errors, and this was no exception. But it didn't really hurt the show overall, just a couple little moments where you're shaking your head. The package that opened this show was very nice. They had two little kids talking about, they're coming, what's going on? Like, the announcer guy that's been doing all the hype videos for the Somebody's Coming and They're Not Alone videos did the Welcome to Slammiversary package, and his voice is great, he looks great. He's a very good guy to have doing the announcing for this, and the little kids saying they were scared because they're coming was a nice little package as well. Hyping up and making it feel like a big, important, foreboding moment in Impact history. So, very nice opening package. Children always make things spooky, and that guy doing the narration has been great. Opening match on the show was Dez and Wentz having an open challenge. They just announced a few days ago they were going to do an open tag team challenge. And Motor City Machine Guns were the opponents. I really enjoyed that. I was hoping we'd see these guys back. I think Sabin was always best with Shelley. Shelley's super underrated as a character and technical wrestler. Sabin was healing from his injury, and he's been doing backstage stuff for Impact, so it's good to see Motor City Machine Guns back. And now with the signing of Anderson and Gallows and the return of Motor City Machine Guns, now you've got two top, really important tag teams heading that division, along with the North, who are a homegrown TNA team, who are excellent. So you've got your long-term champions, the North, who are great. Motor City's back. Anderson and Gallows debut. You got a few other decent teams under there as well, like Des and Wentz and Reno Scum. So now you've got a pretty solid tag division. They've fixed the tag division in one night here in Impact. So kudos to fixing your tag division for sure. Really solid opening match. Good stuff. Motor City is relying more on strikes now and not as much on the high impact because they are getting older. They are, I would say, a little past their prime because their prime was, 2010 and before. But they're still really solid in spite of the fact of being older. Good combination stuff on both sides. Des and Wentz took really good bumps here. Good fast-paced action, fun, high-spot opener showcasing a future and a present team in Impact. Really good stuff here. Motor City gets the win. I'm glad they're back again. It's a nice fit. They had good chemistry in this match, and it's good to see another big team coming back to Impact. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the future. Then we had Moose versus Tommy Dreamer for the TNA Championship. This was fine. I mean, people were mostly excited for this to see what was going to happen at the end of the match, assuming that some TNA legend was going to come back, like an EC3 or an Eric Young or something like that. Some TNA guy was going to come back and challenge Moose at the end for the TNA belt, but it didn't happen, so this kind of fell flat because the match itself wasn't expected to be much, and it wasn't special. They did a hardcore match, so it was okay. Took a few nice bumps. Dreamer always is a good seller, and he fits the hardcore style. Moose is a great athlete. He gets an amazing height on some of this stuff. He's a good heel. He plays to the camera a lot. So, again, nothing bad here by any stretch of the imagination, but it was just another regular match, and there was no big surprise at the end, which we all expected. So, I guess our expectations were a little high for the aftermath that didn't happen, but the right guy wins here. The match was okay, solid enough. Dreamer tried really hard. Moose gets the win like he should have, so the right guy wins, and moving on. Then we had the Knockouts Battle Royal. I'm not going to list all the knockouts. They had a silly spot in this where Johnny Bravo came out, dressed as Taya and then Rosemary, and got dumped out twice. That was kind of stupid. I'm not a big fan of the Johnny Bravo comedy stuff. It's not for me. Lots of impressive ladies in this match. Kylie Ray, I don't like the Smiley Kylie character where she's just like waving and friendly and doesn't expect to win, and she's apologizing to Knockouts for throwing him over the top rope. That's kind of stupid. You're in the match to win. You're supposed to throw him over the top rope. I get that you're nice, but it just feels like a Bayley kind of a character, but just not as good. But in the ring, Kylie Ray is really good, really talented. Really nice to see people like Kimberly in this match. She looked really good. Jessica Havoc has a lot of potential. She looked really good in this match as well. A lot of tag teams forming. I don't want to see Knockouts tag titles come back. They mentioned that on commentary. I think TNA has enough belts as it is. I think they only ought to have 4 titles. World, X Division, Tag Team, and Women's. I don't care for the TNA belt. I don't care for the Knockouts tag belts. Keep your 4 titles. You got a small company. There's no reason for everyone to get a belt in this company. But Kylie Ray gets the win over Taya Valkyrie in the end. I think Kylie can be a nice new challenger. Again, very talented. Coming off the AEW short stint. She's got some buzz behind her. I like her a lot. I think she's going to be a good challenger for the Knockouts Championship. Solid match here. Nothing special. The comedy spots were really all they did. Everything else was just kind of a regular battle royal. So Kylie's a good choice for winner here, though. Then out of the crowd comes Heath, the former Heath Slater. They're just calling him Heath right now. He comes out, takes the mic. He looks jacked. He's got his free agent t-shirt on. He looks pumped up. After this past Monday, we all saw him on Raw. He comes out and says that he is a new Heath. He's not the guy we've seen before in the past. He mentions, kind of oddly, he mentions that he would talk to Rhino about taking up Des and Wentz on their Open Tag Team Challenge, but that already happened. So I don't know why he said that. I don't know if they filmed this like on a different day or something, or if they, I don't know what the heck happened. It seemed like it was live, obviously. He walked in front of the commentary, so he mentioned challenging for the tag team spot for some reason, and then he mentioned that he was going to go for the World Championship, so the promo was kind of weird, but it was good to see Heath in really good shape. He looks motivated. He cut a serious promo. I think he's going to be a more serious character in this company. He's got some buzz behind him. Let's see what he can do. We know he's a good bumper. He's a decent wrestler, and he's been doing the comedy stuff pretty well for a long time, but now he's kind of like an Eric Young. He wants to get more serious and more diverse. So let's see what he can do now. Fresh start, fresh character, good shape. Let's see what he can do. Rohit Raju comes out and says that he's been here for a long time and he deserves a title shot. I like that. Rohit cuts a good promo back. Rohit is an underrated talent. I wasn't big on him when I first saw him a few weeks back. I've been watching for a few weeks now, just kind of catching up on the company, and I'm really enjoying what Rohit does here. He's a smaller guy, but he's got a good size. He speaks fluently. He speaks well. He's jacked for a smaller dude. He's a pretty good wrestler, and this promo was pretty solid. I'm liking what I see out of Rohit. He can be a nice piece as a mid-card, homegrown Impact talent. I really enjoy him, and I wouldn't mind seeing a feud with him and Heath Slater here. I think Heath Slater coming in motivated against Rohit would be a nice showcase for those two guys. Heath Slater hits his little zigzag move on Rohit, and then goes back to the back. Then we have one of the best matches of the night, in my opinion. We have Willie Mack defending the X Division title against Chris Bay. I was looking forward to this one. Boy, it delivered. I enjoyed this. Chris Bay, the counter wrestling was very smooth here. It was a nice contrast of styles. Both guys are fast and athletic. Willie Mack is a very underrated athlete. He's very unassuming with his stomach and his size, but for a bigger dude, he's really agile in the ring. He makes some Kenny Omega faces sometimes. He kind of does like the really twisty faces when he's selling. I don't like that. It's kind of too animated, but I do like his personality other than that, and I think he bumped around well in this match. The counter stuff was very fluid in this match. Chris Bay, always innovative. He's a smooth counter wrestler. He chains well. His stuff looks very fluid. I really just enjoy him. Lots of good high-impact stuff. Neckbreaker on the floor at one point from Willie Mack. Really scary-looking bump there. Chris Bay gets the win with his new move, which is basically a springboard cutter. They called it something else. But Chris Bay wins the X Division title, and that is what I would have done. I think Chris Bay's got a solid character. I think he's charismatic. I think he's decent on the mic. And I think he's innovative and creative with his high-flying stuff. I think he's going to be the guy to carry the new X Division. As the company continues to grow and change and add new guys, they've got to get back to the X Division being important. And it kind of blends in now because it's been around for so long, and so many main eventers work the X Division style. Just look in the main event tonight. You had Trey, Rich Swann, which I'll get to, and Ace Austin. They're all X Division guys too. So it's good to have the X Division guys, the high flyers in this division. You want to build around some of those guys. So put guys like Rich Swann and Trey back in the X Division and let that be your Intercontinental title, kind of your number 2 workhorse belt, to bring back some of the prestige that TNA had brought it from the beginning. So again, really good match here. I like both guys in this. Chris Bay was the right choice for winner. So good booking here. Then we had Heath Slater backstage with Rhino. He walks back, and a nice bit of continuity. He sees his old tag team partner. They hug, and he says that they're not done. They're going to be hanging out together in the future. Then Scott D'Amore comes back and says, well, Heath, you can't get your title shot tonight because you're not actually signed to the company. So I guess Heath was not one of the kayfabe guys signed, even though we know he is signed. But the gimmick is kind of like it was for them on SmackDown for a while. Heath is on the company, but he's not signed. So he said, you can talk to Rhino for a while, but you got to go home. So Rhino says, Heath, come back on Tuesday to Impact. I'll get you in. I'll see what I can do. So they brought Heath Slater back. Nice bit of continuity with he and his old tag team partner. He mentioned the kids. Rhino mentioned the kids. And now they're bringing us to Impact. They're saying Heath's going to come to Impact on Tuesday, and Rhino is going to try to get him in. So now they're making you watch the show. They're bringing the new viewers over to the TV show. So very smart promo here. Then we had the North against Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan. This was the match I was least excited for. I do like the North a lot. They are one of the best homegrown Impact acts, but I don't like Sami Callihan, and I think Shamrock is well past his prime. With that being said, please don't tell Ken Shamrock I said that. That dude is jacked for his age, and he looked very good in this match overall. I really enjoyed Shamrock overall in this match. There were just some stuff that didn't click. It was just awkward, like some of the Shamrock movements and stuff. Callihan, I'm not really a fan of at all. They did the spot that I cannot stand, where a guy is either pinning a guy or putting him in a submission, and right as the guy's about to get counted 3 or tap out, they push, the guy locks up with the partner, and they push each other onto the pile to knock the submission or the pin over. They do it all the time. It's so staged, and the guy looks back for the pin, and they slowly walk back together in the headlock and fall into the pin. It's such an ugly, contrived, fake spot. They did it earlier in the Dez and Wentz match too, and did it here. I can't stand that spot. Several times, Callihan and Shamrock hit each other because they're teasing dissension. They're former enemies, and now they're partners. They hit each other a bunch of times. They did it like 3 or 4 times. It was repetitive. After the first time we got it, we didn't need 3 or 4 more times. And then Shamrock stands around just kind of watching Callihan get beat up and stuff, and kind of standing there staring at him and going, what'd you do that for? For like 5 minutes. It went on way too long. So I really didn't enjoy this match. I didn't think it was great. But the North get the win. The North are the right guys to retain the belts here. They've held the belts for over a year. They should have won, and they did. They get the microphone, and they say nobody can beat them. They're the best tag team in Impact history, which brings out Motor City Machine Guns. I think everybody expected to have Anderson and Gallows here, just like in the earlier tag match, but they surprised us again by bringing out Motor City Machine Guns. Motor City Machine Guns come out and say they've been around for a long time, and they are the best tag team, and they're challenging on Tuesday for the Impact Championships. So once again, you're taking your viewers from pay-per-view and bringing them over for something big to see on Tuesday for your TV show. Smart booking. The one thing I will say is I think it's way too early. You just brought Machine Guns back for their first night and their first match back in the company, and now already in 2-3 days, they're going to challenge for your tag titles. I know they've already earned it, obviously, because they're a legendary tag team, but why blow that match so soon? Why not save that for like a Bound for Glory, build up to it? So maybe they'll do a false finish or like a smaz or a DQ or something like that to extend the feud, because it's kind of fast for that. But it is good to get your pay-per-view audience to go watch Impact. So that was smart booking there as well. Good promo here. Good to see the tag division being a focus of the company here. Then we had my favorite match of the entire night. I really enjoyed Jordan Grace defending the Impact Knockouts Championship against Deonna Purrazzo. I loved this match. It was hard-hitting. It was technical. Jordan Grace was working over Purrazzo's back. She started out doing sentons and things on her back. She out-wrestled her and out-powered her in the beginning, and then Purrazzo found an opening by working over the arm because she uses the armbar finisher, the Fujiwara. So Jordan Grace was using her strength and her power to win early, and then Purrazzo started to attack the arm and set up for her finisher, which weakened Grace and had Purrazzo on the attack. So very smart psychological wrestling here. I really enjoyed the back and forth. Again, the counter wrestling in this match was great. Jordan Grace with a lot of heavy suplexes and stuff like that. Really good stuff. Purrazzo bumps around well. She sells very well. You believe in her selling. Purrazzo using a lot of like go-go platas and triangles and just reversal pinfalls. Really smooth and crisp, using a lot of the groundwork. I love seeing technical wrestlers. Technical wrestling and psychological wrestling and body part working is a lost art in wrestling. There's not too many people that do it anymore. So the fact that Purrazzo does it here makes her very special. I loved her in Ring of Honor and NXT, and I always wish she had gotten the chance to be a top person in those divisions, and now she gets that here because she wins. She gets the double arm bar, painful looking submission. Jordan Grace verbally submits, so they're putting over Purrazzo, the new lady of the division, strong here, the virtuosa. She's got the look. She can bump well. Great wrestler, great talker, great character. She's got all the makings to be a champion. The only question is she's not signed to an official full contract. She's working on a, I guess, per appearance basis or something like that, or a short-term deal. She doesn't have a full contract, so people weren't sure if she'd win the match here. She wins the championship, so I'm hoping they keep her around for quite a while because she has all the talent to be the Michael Jordan of this division. They can build around her. I'm looking forward to seeing these two wrestle again because I love this match. Then we had our main event, our what was going to be a four-way. So we had Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, Eddie Edwards, and then your fourth person, Rich Swann, comes out. Earlier in the night, he said that he was there to watch the World Championship match because when he gets healthy, because he was on crutches, he was going to eventually challenge for the belt. He comes out, he has the crutches, tosses them aside, dances around, showing that he's recovered and healthy, and that was going to be like your fake surprise. Swann returning from injury to main event this show was going to be your surprise. We knew something else was going to happen. Eric Young comes out, comes down and gets the mic and says now it's a five-way and he's challenging too. So the match winds up being Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, Eddie Edwards, Rich Swann, and Eric Young in a five-way elimination match. Good to see Eric Young back. He's doing a more serious character. He's doing kind of the crazy sanity style character instead of the Super Eric stuff. So he's doing a unhinged gimmick. He looks great. He's in great shape. He got busted open twice in this match, both sides of his head. He got both of his eyes above his eyebrows, both sides busted open. Nasty cuts. This really wasn't much of a match. It was literally just spot, 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 spot. It was five guys doing all their moves to each other, which I guess you can excuse because it's a five-man and because they're all going for the championship, so I guess you can explain it. It was just really a lot of spots. There wasn't much psychology. There wasn't much of a break or anything in between. It was just move, 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 move. So the match itself wasn't all that great. They did use the Trey Miguel and Ace Austin feud to start off with. Trey Miguel doesn't belong in the main event. He's an innovative, high-flying X Division wrestler, but as a character in Talker, he's not a main event guy. Ace Austin, I think, is going to be ready soon, but not yet. Rich Swann, I'm not a huge fan of his. He is charismatic, but I just don't get the Black Jericho comparisons. That's what everybody calls him, Black Jericho. I don't get it. In the ring, he can do a lot of flips and stuff, but he has no psychology. He slaps his leg a lot. I don't really get him, personally. I used to be a fan back in his PWG days, but not quite anymore. So Trey Miguel goes out first. Eric Young pins him. And then Rich Swann pins Eric Young. Eric Young, the big surprise, who everybody thought was going to win the belt, goes out second here. Rich Swann gets a roll-up, and then Eric Young gets his heat back by getting a chair and Pillmanizing Swann's leg, kicking it over and over again, hurting the injured leg, and then Swann gets pinned by Ace Austin. So I guess they're building toward an Eric Young-Rich Swann feud, which is kind of random for me. Swann wasn't around recently, and Eric Young freshly back. Having him get pinned this early in a match like this, and then going on to kind of feud with a returning kind of X Division guy, I don't really understand the logic there. But Eric Young did look good in this match. I just wish that he didn't get pinned so early. I feel like taking your big surprise out, and then taking your second surprise out right after that kind of was a weird booking staple. Comes down to Ace Austin and Eddie Edwards, and Eddie Edwards wins the belt. Surprising here. I thought if they were going to go with anybody besides a surprise, that it would be Ace Austin, because he is the future. He's almost ready. He's got a character. He's got a big bodyguard. He's got some mic skills. He's been pretty good consistently for the last year for Impact. Surprised to see them go back to Eddie Edwards. I think it's his either second or third time winning the championship. And he's not a great talker. His character is very marginal. He's been around for a while and he's a good wrestler. But as a talker and a character, he's just kind of okay. And he's already held the belt before, so it was kind of a random choice here, in my opinion. Then at the end, Madman Fulton comes out. He and Ace Austin jump Eddie Edwards. And the Good Brothers finally come out after a night full of teasing them. They come out, and they're standing there with Ace Austin and Edwards, and they're kind of teasing being a foursome with them. They turn around and take them out, and kind of, I guess they align with Eddie Edwards here. They use the Magic Killer to help Eddie Edwards and fend off Austin and Madman Fulton, and they stand tall with the new champion. So the show starts to go off the air with Eddie Edwards and the Good Brothers. So I don't know if they're going to be a new alliance, or if it was just like a one-night thing, or if they're going to be the new Aces and Eights. We really don't know. Kind of questions here. And then as the announcers start to sign off, we go to a gimmick with a three marks on the screen. Excuse me. Which we know is EC3. He takes his hood off, we see his face, and he throws the whiskey glass in the promos against the wall. So EC3 winds up being our final surprise. And again, is he going to be on their side? Is he going to align with them? Is EC3 going to have his own group? There's still a lot of questions unanswered on this show. But overall, I would say pretty solid show. We had 7 total surprises. The 2 we knew about already were Anderson and Gallows. But along with them, we had the 2 Motor City Machine Guns return. We had Heath Slater return, Eric Young return, and EC3 return. So you've got 2 tag teams in Impact now. You've got 2 legit main eventers in Eric Young and EC3. And you've got a mid-card potential tag team wrestler with a new Heath Slater. So you've got 7 solid additions here. Plus, who knows who else might come in later on. Who knows if they're going to add somebody else like a Rusev when he gets healthy from the COVID stuff. So you bring in 7 guys. You go off the air with EC3, and again, we still have possibly, Don Callis was teasing an ECW guy, so possibly like a Joey Styles or even a Bully Ray with Aces and Eights returning. Are we going to see a Bully Ray or a Ken Anderson later? Is EC3 going to bring in his narrative group, or is he going to join up with the Good Brothers group? Are they going to be Aces and Eights? Is there a different Aces and Eights? We don't know what's happening with the group stuff right now. EC3's been talking about the Control Your Narrative stuff, and D'Lo Brown's been discussing the Aces and Eights cut. So we don't know if one or both of those groups is going to come in, or if they're coming in solo. We don't know. So there's still some questions to make you tune into Impact, which is smart marketing. And overall, again, with 7 surprises, some pretty good promos, and I think 2 really good matches. I really enjoyed the Knockouts title match and the X Division title match. And then, of course, for those of you guys that like the spot stuff, you'll really enjoy the main event as well. So overall, a solid night, and a lot of good new additions, and a lot of questions. So, Impact, congratulations. You guys had me hooked for the first time in a long time. I think you brought a lot of good pieces in, and I'll be tuning into Impact to see what you do with those pieces and who else might be joining them in the future. So, well done. What did you guys think? What is your best match and best debut of the show? Is there anybody else you want to see come in? Tell me in the comments down below. This has been Wrestling with myself. I am hot. I'm going to go. I will see you guys soon. Take care.